a station working for you. This is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins, here with meteorologist Kyle Mounts. Kyle, we've had a couple of days of mild weather in November, but there is a change ahead for the weekend, right?
Yeah, we got a couple of changes coming our way, Mark, and one of those will be with the temperatures. We are still enjoying numbers upper 50s to around 60 degrees here. 61 in Muncie, 60 in Bloomington, and 58 in Indy. But we look back to the west, and we find 30s, 40s, and even some 20s that aren't too far away. And that just kind of signals what's coming our way for the upcoming weekend. Maybe not the 20s, but we are going to see those temperatures taking a bit of a tumble, and we've got rain chances both Saturday and Sunday that by the time we get to the end of the weekend is going to add up to between a half and an inch and a half of rainfall. Out there this evening, we've got some very light rain here along I-74 stretching through Veedersburg and around Crawfordsville. Most areas will remain dry with those cloudy skies, and our temperature at 58 right now in the Indianapolis area. As we look at the evening planning forecast, clouds, again a couple of showers, and temperatures are still in the 50s here as we approach midnight. We'll talk about the cooler weekend coming our way in just a few minutes.
And now to our continuing coverage of the coronavirus crisis and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health reports 6,912 new coronavirus cases. 63 more Hoosiers died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths to 4,952. Since March, more than 282,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. More than 3.7 million tests have been administered in Indiana. An Indianapolis wedding photographer who got COVID-19 wants to share his story in the hopes of helping others. Rich Miller has been a professional photographer since 1983. He does shoots with a lot of families, even famous ones, and weddings. Rich started feeling weird on Election Day. He lost his sense of smell. He tested positive on November 5th. Rich isn't sure where he got it. Perhaps a wedding, family photo session, or even voting early.
I was cautious. Whenever I was at a wedding, at reception where other people, were not wearing masks, I always had mine on, and I tried to keep social distance, but sometimes it was just unavoidable.
Health officials say large gatherings like weddings are big spreaders of the virus. In Marion County, weddings and other seasonal gatherings are limited to 25% capacity unless they get a plan approved by the health department. Rich is now negative for COVID, but still can't smell. He is nervous about going back to work and is asking everyone to do their part by wearing a mask. Another college is sending students home for virtual learning as the pandemic worsens. Today, Franklin College sent a letter to students saying the school would move to all remote learning following Thanksgiving break. College President Carrie Prather says that in-person instruction has become difficult due to the large number of students who are having to quarantine. Virtual learning will continue at Franklin at least through the end of the fall semester in December. Today was the last day of in-person classes for students in Indianapolis public schools for a while. IPS and several other Marion County school districts are moving to all virtual learning starting Monday. Today, the city-county government and the education nonprofit The Mind Trust announced new funding for 22 community learning sites. Those sites are available for any student who needs a safe, supervised place to attend their virtual classes during the school day. School leaders say having those learning sites available is about more than technological challenges at some students' homes.
Many parents work during the day, leaving older siblings to be caretakers for younger students, which makes it really difficult to cultivate a learning environment at home. We've also heard of instances where there are multiple families doubled up in a home, which also can make learning challenging.
The Mind Trust is committing an additional $207,000 to the community learning sites. They will be available for free to any student until at least January 15th. That's when the mayor's virtual learning order is scheduled to expire. As coronavirus cases rise and students in school districts across central Indiana transition back to virtual learning, a tutoring service with 4 local offices wants parents to know they don't have to do it all alone. WRTV's Nicole Griffin highlights this resource for families.
As the pandemic continues, Sylvan Learning is doing everything they can to be able to keep their doors open. That is because they know right now there are many parents out there looking for help for their students, especially as many school districts return back to virtual learning.
What 2 sounds does A make?
F and A.
Yes.
Avery Mills is a 3rd grade student in Warren Township. His mom, Precious, works from home. In the spring when schools shut down, she did virtual learning with Avery and his 2 siblings.
There you go.
There are days where I feel like I'm, well, I don't want to say being the perfect parent, but like on it. I made up a schedule on doing it, and then there are days I'm just like, everyone's taking a break today because I can't.
Next week, all 3 kids will be back at home doing virtual learning once again, which she says can be overwhelming, especially when it comes to Avery.
Just hard to talk about, when your kid's behind, he's in 3rd grade reading at like a kindergarten level. I think they got him up to almost 1st grade at this point, and I can see it at home.
In the car.
Precious knew she needed to get Avery more help. After an assessment with Sylvan Learning in August, Avery now does 3 sessions a week with his tutor, Hannah.
We know that right now, during that pandemic, it's so important for families to be supported consistently, especially with everything being bumpy.
During the pandemic, Sylvan offers the same lessons in person and virtually. Their main focus is on writing, reading, and math. And after just a few months, Precious says Avery is now excited about learning.
It's been going great. I'll keep on practicing so I can get better at it.
And he's more confident, which I love because he's, as hard as it is for a parent, it's more hard for the child when they're trying to learn stuff. They go to school all day, they come home, they're still learning, he was even overwhelmed.
Working for you, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Sylvan Learning knows that money can be a barrier for families when it comes to signing their children up for tutoring services. For Black Friday, they do have special deals for families looking to sign up during the pandemic. We have the details for you right now on the WRTV app. Tonight, we are taking a look at how COVID is changing the way law enforcement responds to some calls for help. WRTV's Cameron Riddle spoke with a family frustrated by what they learned when they recently called IMPD.
This window here occurred on last Friday, where someone threw a brick and hit the window.
Not once, but twice in a week, a window at Jackson Burris's East Side home shatters at the hands of vandals. His nephew, Jomo Cole, shows us the damage.
This past Monday, another brick come flying through the window between 6:30 and 7 p.m. And this room here is my auntie's computer desk room.
Cole says following both incidents, his aunt and uncle called for police, but both times they were told an officer would not physically be showing up because broken windows are considered vandalism and a non-emergency.
It's more than vandalism. And my thing is, I'm really disgusted because the people that are supposed to protect and serve us, when you call them and ask them to come out, the first thing they said was, oh, it's vandalism. Due to Corona, we're not going to come out.
Despite being a 3-minute drive from IMPD's North District headquarters, IMPD tells WRTV the department is following guidelines set by the CDC, the Indiana State Department of Health, and the Marion County Health Department to preserve and protect first responders and residents from the risks of COVID-19. In some cases, instead of sending an officer, dispatchers are directing citizens to call the non-emergency number or file a report online. After hearing from WRTV about the back-to-back window breaking incidents, IMPD says they'd be happy to set up a patrol. But the man who lives here says something needs to be done before someone gets hurt.
My wife could have been sitting there and got knocked in the head, hurt, or killed. Just step up the patrol. I know you have a lot of area to cover, but just come through there at least to show that, hey, you are trying to protect us. Right now, I don't feel protected nowhere.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
IMPD says when possible, dispatchers are screening residents for potential COVID-19 symptoms over the phone as they take 911 calls. As the pandemic continues, you are urged to use the non-emergency services numbers for non-emergency calls. That number is 317-327-3811 or go online to the indy.gov website. And Tuesday at 7 p.m., we are diving deeper into the COVID crisis in Indiana. You'll hear from a 30-year-old man who survived a harrowing battle with the coronavirus, plus the candid conversations with healthcare workers who are putting their health on the line to protect you. And we're talking with the experts, everything you need to know about a potential vaccine. Our WRTV news special, Inside the COVID Crisis, airs Tuesday at 7 p.m. We've heard a lot about the shooting of Breonna Taylor earlier this year, but there's so much more you may not know about this controversial case. Coming up here, another juror comes forward to talk about whether justice was served. We're now hearing from a third grand juror in the Breonna Taylor case who says she believes more charges should have been filed against the officers involved. We're also seeing newly released footage showing the moment police ordered her boyfriend to leave her apartment. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has more on this ABC News and Courier Journal exclusive.
Keep walking back. Look backwards! Have you been hit by a bullet?
Newly released police body camera footage shows the moments after police officers killed Breonna Taylor in her Louisville home while executing a search warrant.
Who else in the apartment? Nobody. My girlfriend's dead.
Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, sharing how he says that night in March started with a bang at the front door.
Breonna said, who is it? Nobody said anything.
I yelled, police search warrant, police search warrant.
Walker says he never heard that and didn't know it was police at the door. So he says he grabbed his legally owned gun, and when officers took down the door, he says he fired one shot at the ground, striking and injuring Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly. Mattingly and two other officers responded with a hail of gunfire, killing Taylor. The case going to a grand jury who charged one of the then officers on the scene, Brett Hankerson, with wanton endangerment of Taylor's neighbor. He pleaded not guilty, but no one was charged in connection to Taylor's death.
The grand jury agreed that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in the return of deadly fire.
Your reaction when you heard that?
I came out of my chair. I said he just lied.
Liar. Those are the words that came out of my mouth.
I was floored.
That reaction from three of the grand jurors alleging they and the other jurors weren't given all the evidence in the case. Juror number 3, giving her first television interview to ABC News and the Courier Journal, is heard sharing her frustration in this newly released recording of the grand jury proceedings.
We're not going to show all the videos just because of time, but Sergeant Cassidy's video is showing that. What's that, man? I said we get it.
I felt like if I was going to give my right judgment as a juror that I needed to be presented all the evidence, and they didn't.
In your mind, should there have been more charges brought?
I thought one would be murder.
And we reached out to Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron for comment, but he declined to speak with us. And we will hear much more about this case that sparked protests across the country in tonight's Say Her Name Breonna Taylor 2020 special event with the Courier Journal. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And as Marcy just mentioned, you can watch Say Her Name Breonna Taylor right here on WRTV at 9 p.m., followed by the news at 11.
Rain chances start off very light and scattered for the weekend, but those chances will be rising as we get into Saturday night and Sunday morning. How much wet weather is coming our way, I'll let you know. You're watching WRTV News at 7.
The World Health Organization says in the last 4 weeks there have been more COVID-19 cases globally than in the first 6 months of the pandemic. The numbers here in the U.S. are skyrocketing ahead of the holidays, but now we could be one step closer to a vaccine. Today, drug maker Pfizer applied for emergency use authorization from the FDA, and if it's approved, the vaccine could be sent out just hours later as part of Operation Warp Speed. Federal officials say the U.S. already has 40 million doses of vaccine stockpiled. The chief medical officer of CVS says that if all goes as planned, the vaccine will likely hit drugstores nationwide next year.
We'll begin to offer, as there's availability of vaccinations in the stores, I would hope by the end of February, beginning of March, and then we think we can move rapidly.
That's promising news indeed, with more than 250,000 American lives already lost to the virus. Meanwhile, health experts are urging Americans to avoid travel and only celebrate with those you live with on Thanksgiving. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is hiring. Here's a look at the new video that they just released. They've had to adjust their recruiting efforts due to the pandemic. They're not able to do in-person events at schools, so instead they are holding online informational sessions. They're also using targeted radio and social media ads to connect with the community as they look to hire new officers that are representative of the communities they serve. Police say despite the current climate, people are still coming forward hoping to become an officer.
Even though we're facing difficult times now in law enforcement, we're still seeing so many people that are coming in with a servant's heart. They still want to get out there and serve their community, and they want to be part of the change. So if they believe that there are changes need to be made to the police department, they want to come in and try to be a part of that. And that's why our campaign right now is currently Change Starts Here.
The deadline to apply to join IMPD is December 19th. We'll have much more information about the specific requirements and programs to help prepare applicants on our website at WRTV.com. Kyle.
It's been a nice couple of days, a little breezy at times, but those temperatures running about 10 to 20 degrees above the average highs for this time of year. And right now we still have many locations sitting in the lower 60s. You're at 60 in Bloomington, 61 in Greencastle, Muncie at 61 degrees, while we're at 58 downtown in Indianapolis. Those clouds going to continue to get a little bit thicker here for us as we go through the overnight. And again, a few areas will see some very light scattered showers. 44 the overnight temperature. That's not too far from where we've been the last couple of nights, but just kind of the leading edge of some cooler air. Here's a look at TrueCast by 11:30 tonight. There you can see some of those very light rain showers scattered about, and really will be favoring areas along and south of I-70 as we go into Saturday morning, because that's where we're going to see that front lined up there along the Ohio River. So you can see some light scattered showers there through the first half of the day. Temperature-wise, we start off in the 40s, but we also finish in the 40s. We are not going to warm very much at all here as we go throughout our Saturday. Occasional chances for some rain. I think those rain chances actually do start to increase a little bit as we go into tomorrow evening. 50 will be your high in Bloomington and Columbus, as well as Lafayette, so numbers about 10 to 15 degrees cooler than this time that we had today. 49 for your high in the Muncie area. Looking at TrueCast, we jump ahead here as we go through Saturday evening. There at 9 o'clock, you can see more rain, and that will become more widespread, overspreading the area here. And as we go into early Sunday morning, as temperatures dip into the upper 30s, could see some snow showers here around, say, Tipton, Kokomo, Marion, Hartford City. I don't think it's going to be accumulating, though, as we will stay above the freezing mark. Temperatures as we go into early Sunday will be upper 30s to around 40 degrees. As we head into Sunday afternoon, though, you can see that we're going to be getting rid of the wet weather. As far as rainfall potential, those shades of blue indicating where we could see anywhere from about a ½ inch to an 1.5 inches of rain. Areas of purple south of I-70 where we could see those between about an 1.5 inches and 2 inches of rainfall coming our way. So it will be a chilly rain, a high of just 45 on Sunday. We'll dry it out but keep the cool temperatures into the early part of the week. Then we get a little bit above average here as we go into Wednesday. We'll have some scattered showers around, dry for Thanksgiving. Stay with us. We'll be right back on the news at 7.
WRTV's annual toy drive is underway. You can drop off new unwrapped gifts at several Central Indiana U-Store locations. We'll also be collecting donations at Simon Malls in the Indianapolis area on December 5th. You can also make a financial donation online at WRTV.com/toy drive. Here's some good news for Disney World visitors. If you've been missing hopping from one park to the other when you visit the theme park, no worries. You'll get an opportunity to do so again in January with some restrictions, of course. Today, the company announced it is bringing back the option, but visitors will have to make reservations for their first park, and they physically have to go to that park before heading to another one. Disney has been modifying its guidelines since reopening in July. Puxatawny Phil will look for his shadow without a live audience. The February 2nd event will be held virtually. The Puxatawny Groundhog Club says the risk of spreading coronavirus was too great to allow an in-person event. Even Punxsutawney affected.
Yeah, and after this year, I'm sure everyone's hoping he doesn't see his shadow there. As we go through time here, we are going to see more rain, so we won't be seeing our shadow Saturday or Sunday with the clouds around. We will have occasional chances for rain. It'll warm up, though, as we get toward Thanksgiving. Highs are back in the middle 50s.
Of course, we want to join you for thanking us, or for joining us, rather, for WRTV News at 7. We're back with you tonight at 11. You can thank us for thanking you, too. Thanks.